but I wanted to talk about the early voting. And so, see, I'll pull up this article I had here while I was going over it because I have changed a little bit since yesterday. So maybe I'm like not poll watching, but data watching and everything. So from yesterday when I saw the numbers for the early voting were looking really bad for the Democrats. We knew that the numbers would be lower than 2020, that fewer people would take advantage of early voting because we're not in the middle of COVID, and that it would be like that. But from what I saw yesterday, from the numbers that were reported, the numbers were like the Republicans had a higher percentage of early voters than they had in 2020. From what I saw now, it seems to have evened out. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up here, what I got. Oh, this is 2024 early voting in battleground states and how it compares to today. So Target Smart Analysis published on Wednesday, 20 days before the November 5th election, concluded that 3,845,372 registered Democrats had voted so far, compared with 2,550,036 Republicans and 634,091 unaffiliated. The data also showed that as of Wednesday, more registered Democrats than Republicans had voted in the crucial battleground states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona. Though the GOP was ahead in Nevada. That's pretty disappointing to see that they're ahead in Nevada. And according to the data, early and absentee voting in 2024, 20 days before the election, is significantly lower than 2020, no surprise there, when many states encourage the practices due to the coronavirus pandemic. The group claims that 20 days before the 2020 election, some 10.5 million registered Democrats cast their ballots, along with 7 million registered Republicans and 2 million voters without party affiliation. And I think I had Pennsylvania in here too. Yeah, in Pennsylvania, which Trump won in 2016, lost in 2020. 427,400 registered Democrats had voted, along with 170,000 Republicans. And Democrats also have a substantial lead in Wisconsin, in contrast to the same state in 2020 election cycle. Republicans were ahead at this time back then. 106,000 Democrats have voted, 49,000 Republicans. And the picture is similar in Michigan, where the Democratic lead is substantially bigger than 20 days before the 2020 election, according to Target. So when yesterday's polls came out, the Democrats were like barely ahead or even losing. The Democrats are still losing in Arizona, which that surprises me. I got to say, I am surprised that the Democrats are. I knew that all the polls had Trump up by a point, I think, in Arizona from what I saw. But once again, it is early voting, I know, but I figured with Kerry Lake and the 1861 abortion law they had that the Republicans would be absolutely cooked. But the fact that Arizona is close is very depressing to me. I thought for sure that they would come through for it. And who knows, they might. Because like it's a weird election cycle with we don't know how early voting is going to compare. It's going to be lower, but the rates are about the same. I did the quick math on that. It was about 30% more Democrats voted in 2020 in most of these, and that's pretty much shows out in all these as well. So I don't know, Kathy, what have you seen so far?
I mean, I feel like I understand that they're going to look at these things, they're going to analyze these things because they have all of this fucking media time to fill, right? But I don't think it's a good it's apples to oranges to me, right? Because 2020, like you said, we were in the middle of a pandemic. The reason people were taking advantage of early mail-in voting was precisely because of the necessity of it, right? And like a couple of reasons. Like one, it just started, so there might just still be people who haven't gotten off their ass to drop off the mail-in ballot. Like they have it, it's filled in, it's like folded, and it's on the front of their house, like by the door, and they keep forgetting to take it and drop it off.
Yeah.
Because I promise, hi, like I'm that person. But I also think like is it mail-in ballots specifically were a big difference? Like I think that's an obvious one because I think early voting, people like voting in like there's something romantic about voting in person.
Well,
like, you know,
Gabby,
there is.
This is right back to the generational thing. Do you think? I think that I like that, but I can see how other people wouldn't. I don't know. I can see that, but I don't know. It's age talking.
No, it is.
I have a very good polling place. I get in and out in less than 30 minutes every time. Usually, for this one, I expect 30 minutes. Usually, I just walk right in and out. I love going there. It's a lot of fun. If I had to wait in line at all, I would mail vote every single time.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I think it is a little bit like, especially for a lot of like first time voters, they're going to want the experience of going like they ring a bell for you. You get a sticker. Like it's a fun little thing, right?
I do like the sticker.
I know, right? And like they mail you a sticker, but it's not the same. There's
Not the
something
same.
about there's something about a 70-year-old lady with
Fraudulent
curlers
sticker.
like giving me a sticker and saying, "Thank you for being a good citizen," that just makes my heart warm and fuzzy, right? And like I think that's true a little because we're all just a little bit like nerdy sentimental America, right? Like we're not all like drape ourselves in American flags America, right? But we all respect the Constitution. Like there's like something about it that we're willing to fight and protect for, right? You know what I mean? And I think voting is the most obvious like extrinsic, I can't talk today, action that we have to like be part of America. You know what I mean? So I feel like, especially right now, given the tension, I do think a lot of people want to vote in person this time. Like I want to vote in person this time. I want to walk in there and say, "Motherfucker, you're going down." Absolutely the fuck not. And I vote by mail usually all the time, but no, I'm walking in this.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, so it was interesting because you kind of alluded to Democrats not doing as well in early voting, and that is not what I have seen so far.
Yesterday I saw that, but now it's pretty much caught up from what I've.
Well, so it's lower across the board, which makes a lot of sense.
Right.
You know, that just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I would have expected Republicans to significantly outperform their margins relative to 2020 because they are making a concerted effort to get people to go out and vote early. The Trump campaign spent $10 million in Pennsylvania alone with a get out the early vote campaign. And it has not materialized at all. In many places, either the margins are the same as they were in 2020, or Democrats are gaining momentum in the early voting relative to 2020, relative to the Republicans, right? Totals are down across the board. And so that, to me, indicates either one of two things. Either one, Democrats voted more early voting last time. More of them liked it, and so they chose to do it again. But I don't know about that because then you would see like significantly more Democrats voting. But it seems that like the 2020 inflation was about the same due to the pandemic for both sides. And so what that indicates to me is there is a lot more enthusiasm on the Democratic side of the ticket. There's a lot more people who want to go out and vote for Kamala Harris than want to go out and vote for Donald Trump. And that is very important because, you know, the thing that I've just been zeroing in on is that independents don't fucking exist. Undecided voters do not exist. This is a myth.
It's a myth.
Keep telling us that I simply do not believe. The largest voting bloc in America is not independents. It's not undecideds. It's non-voters. And you've seen this exact thing happen with Donald Trump, and I just wish the Democrats would fucking take notice. Donald Trump has dragged the entire party into neo-Nazi territory, and it has not fucking affected him. Not in the slightest. The party followed suit, and you would see the Democrats do the exact same thing. It doesn't matter what the people at the top are saying. The people are just going to listen to the people at the top. And so my thing has been they should give us all the fucking candy that's going to get us all sugar high to go out and vote for them. They should fire up their base because getting out the vote, and we've been saying this on this show for over a year now, you don't win elections through persuasion, you win them through motivation. Getting out your side of the vote is what's going to win you election day because it's going to be locked at 50-50 anyway. It's just getting your people to show up more than the other people, which is why I hate her, you know, trying to go after Republicans because they're not going to fucking vote for her. Like, it's just, and like the amount of people who are going to switch their vote, they don't exist. I don't believe it. More people get mauled by polar bears than people who actually don't know who they're voting for right now.
Okay, go ahead. No.
Oh yeah, no. So the Republicans for Harris, like it is a vanishingly small margin of people and those are your like the people who voted for Nikki Haley, even though she wasn't running anymore, and I can see an argument of, I want to try to drag those over. Once again, I'm a big favor too of mobilization over persuasion, just because it's more effective. And I do want to correct one thing, John. You said that Trump dragged the Republican Party to the Nazis. I lightly pushed, I think, would be a better way to say it. That
I was going to say that. I was like, they were already there.
They're already like a little tug, a little push, and that they're ready to go. And also when so the numbers are down. Everyone expected the raw numbers to be down, and the percentages have kind of caught up, which is a good sign. I'm just I was expecting it to be a lot better in certain areas, particularly Arizona and Georgia, which are not necessary for Harris.
I've written off Arizona and Georgia.
Yeah, Arizona. Yeah, I just expected it'll be a little bit better. Georgia, a little less so, but definitely Arizona. So that's where my disappointment is. And one thing too, Kathy, you were talking about how people like the Americana thing, and like the one thing people ever do politically generally is vote every 4 years, or maybe 2 years if we're lucky. So that's kind of their one thing. And this is why the Republicans, like, even though Trump, it has been so funny watching Trump and Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance go out and saying, all right, you guys, make sure to get out there and vote early, when Trump has spent, his entire time in the public.
Irony.
Yeah, saying it's
bullshit. I literally wrote irony.
Yeah, exactly. And so it has been funny to see, but Republicans more than anyone else are those traditionalists. They're the ones that are like, no, I want to go out and stand and line and vote and get my little sticker and everything. Oh, did you write that down too? Yeah, because exactly. Yeah, it falls right in line. There's like, yeah, I'm gonna get my I voted sticker the way Ben Franklin intended, and they want to kind of go along with that. And I think there's a lot we can learn there. So John was saying something that we mention all the time, that Trump's main strength electorally was the fact that he got a bunch of fucking, I don't want to insult them before that, but a bunch of people who were politically unaffiliated, people who didn't really care about politics, and his celebrity and his charisma and his humor. Yes, Donald Trump is funny. I will not hear anyone saying anymore that this guy doesn't have decent comedic chops. He was entertaining. And look, not everyone can do that. Almost nobody can. But there are people who would be capable of that. A person we mentioned Jon Stewart would be a good rival for Trump in that era. That he's someone who
I would walk over dead bodies.
Yeah, people. Yeah, and but it wouldn't be about you though. It would be about the people who wouldn't have voted. Oh, I like Jon Stewart. He's funny. He's interesting. He seems pretty cool. And sadly,
he was around after 9/11.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's got gray hair now. I can respect him. And so, that can happen a lot. But another example, one that's probably closer to Trump, one that would actually, because I always said that if I were a Republican, and let's say Trump agreed with I agree with everything Trump said, and I voted for him, I wouldn't tell anybody. I certainly wouldn't brag about it. I certainly wouldn't.
Like, seriously.
I would be too embarrassed and ashamed. And I was trying to think of an example of this, and the closest I can get, he's not nearly as bad as Trump, but it is someone who I'd have to I voted for this guy, Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura would be another guy like that. So Jesse Ventura has great policies. Well, a lot of his policies are pretty good. Like, he talks about a maximum wage rather than a minimum wage, but someone says hey, what about his thoughts on Area 51? Okay, all right. Look, I'm sorry, man. Okay, it would be kind of embarrassing to do something like that.
All right. Hello and welcome to the end of the video that you made it to. And yes, you are right. You clicked on the dumbass channel. So make sure to like and subscribe to it, just like our good friend Stargazer Tim. And if you would like to hear more from our wonderful guest, Kathy, please let our audience know where they can find you.
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at @CannonSpotter, and check out my own podcast. It's called Just Buy Less Coffee. It is available anywhere you listen to the podcasts. You will find it, Just Buy Less Coffee. You'll see my face, so you'll know it's me. It'll be great.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Folks, we appreciate you watching the show as always and encourage you to watch more, because if you don't, we will send one of Elon Musk's creepy ass robots to come hang out at your house and do whatever it wants. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Catch you guys later.